go, 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 yay! What, you never seen a relay race before? Hi there, Adam here. Now if you've watched How to Build an Android App Part 5, you might have seen this device hooked up to another piece of electronics, specifically my lights. Now I don't recommend actually working with 110 volt power because that can be pretty dangerous. But today we're going to talk about how we can modify a piece of electronics to be automated and augmented with an Android device. So let's get started. Alright, so first things first. We want to make sure that we're safe, so we're not going to work with 110 volt power for this episode. Now, I don't recommend doing that at all. However, it is an option if you feel comfortable with that. I would recommend using something that uses a wall wart transformer. This right here uses 5 volts, it's a USB outlet, and if you have something that'll plug into 5 volts, that would be a good thing. 12 volts is safe, but stay away from the 120 volts unless you know exactly what you're doing. Now, also, have a fire extinguisher ready, because you never know when you might cause a fire. Relays are probably the best home automation tool. They come in a variety of shapes, sizes, colors, and flavors. The purpose of a relay is to act like a switch. So wherever you can have a switch, you can generally have a relay. However, relays, instead of having a physical motion to turn on and off the switch, what they do is they accept an electrical input from a device such as an Arduino, and they turn that into a switching action to turn on and off, just like the light switch at your house. Because we're using an Arduino, we need to select a relay that's proper for our use here, and that would be a 5 volt relay. Now I picked up this relay at Radio Shack, and as you can see here, this is a 5 volt DC relay rated at 125 volts. And what that means is that this thing can handle up to 125 volts AC, but it's triggered by 5 volts, which is exactly what we have coming out of here. Now before we go on any further, I'd like to explain how these relays work exactly. So, let's take a closer look at this. This is a 110 volt relay here, and I'd like to use this for demonstration because you can see all of the components inside of it. So let's go over how the relay actually works. There's 2 physical parts to a relay. You have the coil and you have the switch. Now I think everyone knows that when you energize a coil, it creates magnetism. And what happens here is this little switch over here is pulled this way when the coil is energized. Now the way that works is you apply power to one side of the coil and power to the other side. It then closes the switch this way. This is a normally open, normally closed relay. So what we have here is we have a common lead, and on the other side, this is the normally closed lead. And you can see that this switch right here is pushed over against this lead right there. So what happens is, when this is energized, it then switches over from applying power from here to here to applying power from here to here. And that's how a relay works. Alright, so now for this demonstration I wanted to pick something that would be very simple and easy to understand. So I picked this. So let's get started on automating the button on this guy's nose. Now the first thing we want to do is remove the battery. And next we'll want to remove all these screws here. Alright, and here's our button, so let's remove that little panel right there. So what we have here is pretty simple. We have 2 wires that go into this button board right here. One side goes to one side of the button and the other goes to the other side of the button. And this button, it simply closes a switch that turns on and off the music. Now as you can see here, there's a lot of room inside of this device, plenty actually, and we could probably hook up enough relays to control everything on this. However, we're just going to stick to the basics of just hooking up a single one for demonstration purposes. So now on this relay on the back side, you can see this is supposed to be an inductor. It's actually a picture of a resistor, but what this does is this is the actual coil inside of this relay, and this is the switch. So we look at this and we can tell that these 2 are the coil and these 2 are the switch. There's 4 pins altogether. So what we want to do is we want to hook up these 2 to the ADK device, and we want to hook up these two to bypass the switch. Alright, so while I'm waiting for my iron to heat up, I figured I'd show you this. This here is called heat shrink, and what you can do with it is it can cover electrical connections, and you simply put it on and heat it up with some sort of a heat source. And what it does is it makes it so that bare wire is no longer bare. Alright, so we've got a total of 4 electrical connections to make, so I'm going to make 4 wires. And now we can attach them over to our relay. Alright, so now that we made our electrical connections, we can now put our heat shrink on there and heat it up. Alright, so there we go. We have one electrically safe relay, and for those of you who aren't very good at soldering, it also covers up the nasty soldering job. So there's 2 different ways we can do this. We can first start by removing this coating on the board and soldering directly to that. And the other way that we could do it is to hook up to these existing solder points. I'm more of a fan of hooking up to these existing points, so let's do that. And now this board can go right back in place. Alright, and now we can tuck all this nice and neatly back inside and seal this unit back up. Alright, so now that we've got a relay connected up to this button right here, we've got our ADK right here with the XDA ADK firmware on it, and we've got this with the XDA ADK software running. We can now hook up the ADK to the Nexus 7 running the firmware, and it'll launch the XDA ADK control. And if everything worked properly, we should be able to just hit this button and it will trigger this to turn on these outputs here, which then turns on the relay, which then simulates a button press. So let's try it out. So I hope this look at relays was pretty informative for some of you guys. I want you guys to go out and try this stuff, but don't do anything dangerous, alright? I'd feel really bad if somebody like burned down their house or something. Basically, I just want you guys to stay on the safe side of things. Now, on another note, if you've been watching this show at all, you might know that I've done a video every 2 weeks since I started, and it's going to be a little while before my next video. It's going to be longer than 2 weeks. I've got the Big Android Barbecue coming up, and I'm going to be giving a presentation along with Jordan Keys on exploits, vulnerabilities, and closed source. So I need some time to prepare for that hour-long speech. It's going to take a little bit of my time. So I won't be on for a little while, and I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. I'm still around, I'm just not making videos right now. That's all for this episode. Don't forget to add me to your circles on Google+, and go to plus.adamoutler.com. Oh, and subscribe to this YouTube channel as well. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. It's really easy to do. Just subscribe, you know when we got a video coming out, and hit that like button too. Oh, and share this on Google+, put it on Twitter, and post this to your Tumblr account, and like it on Facebook. Don't forget to comment down in the comment section below. Until next time, hack on!